Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Game Pass Grab Bag, your weekly podcast reviewing games from the Game Pass collection, bringing you 3 unique perspectives of varying skill range. I am the hitchhiker of this episode, Andrew. With me, the one who would definitely murder hitchhikers if he picked them up, Keith.
Hello.
And our hobo that keeps hopping on trains, my brother, Aaron.
I'm back.
And welcome to our first game of 2025, a Keith pick. We played Road 96 by Digixart. Is that how you pronounce it?
I don't think I've ever heard of this studio before. Has this studio done anything else?
That's a good question. But if they did, their name sounds very much like Digifart, if that's how you pronounce it.
I did also notice when the opening credits kick in, not the opening credits, but when it shows like the developers and stuff like that, Omen was on there. Aren't they a subsidiary of HP? Don't they Omen Computers? It looked like the Omen logo from Omen PCs.
Well, isn't Omen the name of the series made by HP?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like their Omen Computers were the gaming version of it, and it was the Omen logo. And I was like, what do they have to do with this game? I've never seen them pop up before. It was very interesting.
So it looks like they're owned by Embracer Group, which isn't too much of a surprise. I feel like Embracer
Everybody
owns
is.
a lot of people. But they made a smaller game on Nintendo Switch and iOS, and another small game called 1111 Memories Retold. That was on Xbox One and PS4. And then this game. So this is their third game.
Yeah, okay.
And they're coming out with another one called Tides of Tomorrow.
Very generic sounding name, but okay.
Yeah, I don't know how it's pronounced, so I'm assuming it's Digixart. Still
cool
sounds
name.
like
Digixart.
But
That's what I would say.
I also got to say this game loses some points. The fact that they called it Road 96 and not Road 69.
I know. Missed opportunity. When I was trying to remember the name of this game, because I was trying to look it up to see when it actually came out. And I was like, I know it starts with a 6. There's no way it was 69 though, right? And it was just 96 the whole time.
Too cool.
I know. I was like, there's no way I would have noticed that. That would have stuck out to me.
But Road 96 is the game we played. It is a first-person narrative adventure game where you are playing various teens. I'm even going to say it's even kind of like a roguelike, Keith, right?
I was going to get to that at some point.
Okay. But you play various teens that are essentially trying to escape this country that is in deep turmoil where, there's a lot of political stuff going on, some good, some bad, and you are just basically trying to flee the country because teens are missing and you're a teen, so you're trying to get out of here. But going around, Keith, you picked this game. So was this a gamer pass for you? Did you like Road 96?
So I think it's funny that you very quickly put the Keith title on this, or Keith.
Well, you did pick it.
I know, but that comes with some stigma around this podcast.
Yes.
As every time you very vehemently describe something as a Keith pick, Andrew's not going to like it. Or typically, you're not going to. This one was not one, for the record, that I was like, been playing and decided we should play. I just said, hey, this looks like a short game. Let's pick it up. And for all intents and purposes, I think it's a fine game, and I would give it a game as far as an overall category. I don't think it's amazing, but I thought it was kind of a neat little playthrough, and I liked the overall design of the gameplay enough that I would give it a game. Yeah.
What about you, Aaron?
For about the first 15 minutes, I determined that I hate this game and I hope it dies in a pit of hell.
Wow.
It grew
Very
on me a
passionate.
little bit. I like this game. It's got some issues. It's got some issues, ones that I absolutely want to blast it for. But it kind of grew on me a little bit. And I was kind of like, all right, I think I'm kind of getting what this game is doing. Elements of it that I was kind of hating kind of grew on me a little bit too. And this is complicated. This one's complicated because there are absolutely some elements of this game that I think are, if they switch this around, it'd be amazing. But they stuck so hard to some really bad ideas that it was hard to ignore it. But all in all, it actually kind of works though. The game just works. It's not much of a game. We'll get into that. Why do you guys keep having me on for walking simulators? I feel like this is like the 5th one I've been on. Jeez, like choose your own adventure walking simulators.
Call of Duty's not a walking sim.
Vampire Survivor was not a walking simulator.
But it calls
Tectonica wasn't a walking simulator.
And then we did some of those horror ones. So, all right, whatever. But yes, this is a game for me. This is a game. It made it there. So yeah.
So I'm in the same boat with you, Aaron. This is why I wanted you guys to go first, because I thought it was going to be the same boat, but it sounds like you are struggling with some things with me as well, Aaron. I am also going to give this game. I have some caveats as well too. So like I said in the description, this game is very political. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't like games that are preaching to me. And there's moments of this game where I'm like, it feels a little preachy, but it does bring up some good kind of questions and arguments that I'm kind of like, okay, I get what this game's kind of doing. I'm liking this, but I want to get more into it. But overall, I've played a lot of narrative games. Like we said, this is a lot of story and stuff. As far as the narrative games go, story-wise, probably not the best. But gameplay-wise, I found this to be pretty fun. Like, there's moments of this where I'm like, all right, this is kind of cool. I'm actually digging this. I'm enjoying picking this up. So, yeah, overall, I'm giving this a game. Like I said, it can be a little preachy, but overall, it's good.
Can be a little
So,
preachy.
getting into the story, you are playing this. You are in this fictitious country called Petria, where you're playing just different teenagers that don't really have an image. You're just kind of an outline of a teenager, and you are essentially trying to get to Road 96, which is the road that gets to the border so you can escape the country, because this country is in a lot of political turmoil. There's an election going on. The current president is kind of a tyrant. Teens are missing. The country's not going well. So you are trying to flee the country. Right off the bat, my complaint with this story is there is not much of a setup. They really throw you in and they just say, president's a tyrant, you're getting out of here. And it kind of irritated me because I had so many questions. So let's try not to get into spoilers. We might do like a spoiler cast at the end here and kind of figure out some of the decisions we were doing. But when it came to the story at the beginning, I'm already going to say I was like, I'm going to play with this story. So you kind of have three different options of, do you vote to fix the country? Do you use action and violence to fix the country? Or do you flee the country? Those are kind of your three main choices. There's three endings to this game. What did you guys pick? What were you guys kind of aiming for?
So I was mostly trying to get out every chance I could.
So you were doing the just escape the country option.
I thought that was kind of the ultimate plot.
Yeah.
Yes, but yeah, I was aiming to try to escape as often as possible.
Yeah, so the setup, man, this is going to be a mess of a review because, again, I'm probably going to come down pretty hard on it, but I'll explain what I liked about this game. But you're already pointing out my rocky part because I picked vote, but you don't really know what the game is aiming to do.
Yeah.
And this is one of my issues. So the moment you do that, the game kind of forces you to, like, the options you picked was wrong the whole time. Your option should have always been to revolt or to escape. Like, there's like saying you're going to vote feels like you're going for the bad guy here, but you're the one that's directly affected by the bad guy. You see what I'm saying? You don't really have a choice in this game. This is kind of one of my issues.
Yeah.
The political statement, you say it's kind of political. No, it's incredibly political.
Yes.
Possibly so. Like, you're having political conversations with people that are talking about something completely different. They're talking about the night sky and you're like, so do you think you should vote? And you're like, why would that come up in this conversation? It's so forced. But I realized very quickly that, I'm only supposed to like one candidate and that's the only option. I wished it was a little bit more subtle in that, or that there was a little bit more nuance there, but there really isn't.
So, okay, I agree and disagree with you. Okay, so I do agree with you because it is kind of seem like it's forcing, but this is my issue where the game does not set up at all. So I was kind of playing the devil's advocate where I'm like, so the main quote unquote tyrant president is red. And then, of course, there's a female candidate who's blue. And I'm like, okay, this is subtle. So this is where some of the preachy moments are like, all right, whatever. Like, this is kind of not very subtle here. But I was trying to play the devil's advocate where I'm just like, everyone's telling me this president's a tyrant. I'm not seeing any of this. They're just like, oh, teens are disappearing. What do you mean teens are disappearing? Disappearing where? Why are teens important? None of the adults are disappearing.
Maybe they're disappearing because they're all running away from home. Have we thought about that?
Why are teens running away? you call your home and your parents are like, good job, keep running. And I'm like, so why are teens valuable? To me, I just felt like everything was a lie. Everyone's just like, this guy's a tyrant. Well, how is he a tyrant? You're saying teens are disappearing, but you don't really see the caps. You see your character get arrested, but it's like, why? Where are they going? What's going on? Like, there's some moments later on in the game where I'm like, okay, now I'm kind of seeing that this guy is legitimately evil. Like, they're trying to paint him this way. But just how the game just starts off, it's just like people are just saying this guy's a bad guy, but I'm like, how do I know he's a bad guy? I think everyone's just lying to me.
Well, okay. So you're right. Like, there's the setup for this game to me it's very jarring. And this is why I was hating about the first 15 minutes of it, because the first character you're introduced to is the most annoying character I've ever met in my life.
Well, two characters, right? Stan and Mitch.
The programmer.
Alex.
Well, that wasn't who I got introduced to first.
So I got introduced to Stan and Mitch.
Okay. So I've heard this. Okay. So this is kind of cool. And again, this is kind of why this game grew on me, because I started to figure this out, that everybody starts at a different place and goes a different path. It's totally procedurally generated for you. So for those that don't know, when you get to the end of your run, something will happen and you will start as a different teen and you'll fill in some gaps. So you'll start at a different place on your hitchhiking journey and then
a different
you
time.
go from there, which I love. I actually thought that is really cool. That's what kind of won me over on the game a little bit. I thought the dialogue was really annoying. So I was introduced to Alex. Alex was the first one that I met. And I was like, that's a horrible way to start this game, because I was like, man, this kid is super annoying. And the dialogue
I did
sucks.
not like her either.
Yes. I was like, this sucks. And I was like, I hate this game so much right now. And you're like, I can't even describe you how like pissed off I was watching this. So, all right. I get what you're saying, where you're like, is this guy really a bad guy? But, in my runs, I'm introduced to two scenarios. One where you're in the bus with the cop who has a teen she's trying to arrest. And she pulls out a gun on everybody in there for arguing against her. So you're like, okay, obviously these people are doing bad stuff to teens, because this cop's willing to shoot everybody in this bus right now.
Hold on, the teen Zoe?
No.
Yeah.
It's a random teen.
No, it's a random teen.
Because I got that event.
So the Zoe one,
Zoe.
So that was the other one where the cop pulls you over and you're in the back of the bus with Zoe, the girl with the tuba, right? Or the
and everyone's trying to be cool, and Zoe's just like, screw you guys.
Yeah.
And just like angry
so
at everyone.
obviously,
like, come on.
again,
Well, there's reasons for that too.
Yeah.
one group is clearly the bad group. And then every time you cut to the news reporter, it's all so on the nose. To me, it was very annoying, because it felt like I clearly have to stick with this one path. It's the only path it's really giving me, without causing some type of, because nobody was on really the red side. They were all sympathetic to the blue side. So there were certain structure points where I was like, oh, this is kind of annoying. Some of the dialogue too, especially how forced it was at certain points.
Yeah.
Was really frustrating. How far did you make it? I think I'm on my fourth
I'm
teen.
over, I would say 75% of the way done.
All right, I'm on my fourth teen right now.
I'm on like my 8th, 6th or 7th.
Yeah, I think that's around where I am. Every character is at about 50%. Some of them are like in the 70s. But I don't know if that's like the end of the game or not.
So how many teens did you get to cross the border? How many successful runs did you guys have?
I had none.
Really? My very first one, I was successful.
Yeah, I made it across the border. My first, I think, 3.
I got caught at the border.
I had one get shot. And
I had one get
got
shot.
arrested.
I had 2 get arrested. And then I've had 3 get across.
I've been arrested every time. Though I made it to the end, got onto a truck, and apparently I escaped from the dog, but then they had a breathing detector. Did you
and you
do
needed
this?
enough stamina.
I had enough, but I thought I did. I was full bar. I had full enough bar.
Yeah, you should have been good. I had full bar, and I survived with 1 bar left.
Nope. Mine went all the way through, and I died. Well, the cops eventually hear me when I started breathing, and then came and got me.
Yeah, that was how I got out of my first run. I had one that was a little bit a little bit rough. I think some kid helped me over the wall. And then there was some like weird back way I went. Yeah, I don't know. I got over a handful of different ways.
I haven't even made it to the border outside of that first time. That first time was the only time I even made it there.
How do you keep failing? I find this game very easy.
That Zoe situation, it was super weird. So you get pulled over by that cop, and I saw an achievement about saving Zoe. So I go out. He immediately knocks me out, and he says, "You're lucky I'm not here for you." Takes Zoe away, and I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'll continue my run." You then like wake up and the cops arrest you anyway. And
well, you were out of stamina then.
Yeah, you was.
I only had one bar when I started. That was how the run started. I literally started in that van with Zoe. I went to go save her, get knocked out, and then I get arrested.
So I guess we can get into the gameplay more and explain what happens in this game. So as we said, it's a first-person narrative-driven game. You know, you're first seeing a news program called The Sonya Show, which, by the way,
she's the most annoying character in the game.
She's very annoying, but what annoys me with her show, the camera keeps cutting. Every 5 seconds, she says 2 words, and then it's like the right camera, and she looks to the other. Like, it was so annoying to me.
I think it was trying to be
constantly
funny.
Jumping around. But anyway, you see the news report, and she's like, "Oh, teens are missing. Like, let's look at the teens." And it gives you 3 teens you can pick from. It tells you, what's their starting cash, what's their starting stamina, how far in the day. Because this game is all building up to election day. So it'll tell you, oh, this was 10 days ago, 5 days ago, 3 days ago, kind of thing like that. So you're kind of picking your team as to where you were playing in the time of, before election day. And once you pick your team, you start, your character is mute. Obviously you have some dialogue choices, but you're essentially going to these certain points. You're just trying to get to the border, to Road 96, and you're hitting these kind of events of where you're hitting a certain point. So like a gas station, you get to the gas station, you walk around, you can talk to people, find some cash, maybe play some mini games. Maybe you can steal some car keys, so you can steal a car to help you, but you have a stamina bar, which is essentially how you win your run. If you run out of stamina, you get arrested, your run is over. Or your character could end up, being shot or something like that. Your character could die. That also ends your run. So it's kind of a roguelike because you're also picking up skills, lock picking. There's a genius detection skill, hacking. And if you get one of these skills, it's permanent. So anytime you play another team, you have those skills. So I kind of like that this was like a roguelike story-driven game. But that's essentially, and then of course there's various mini games, quick time event, you drive in a vehicle, holding your breath, I don't know, various different
All
mini
of them
games.
were pointless though.
They were, but I actually liked them. As simple as the games were, I felt like they mixed it up a bit.
The only one I really liked was the one when you get into it with the taxi driver, where
basically anger.
Where you're trying to fight for your life with dialogue, because that was the only ones I felt like I had to kind of think about a little bit.
That was the same thing with the cop in the bus.
Yeah,
you had to fight the tension.
Yeah, that's true. I guess those. Yeah, those I guess dialogue mini events. Yeah, that's where it's weird. I'm not trying to argue with you, Andrew, because I actually think in some ways, I was chuckling to myself. I was like, this is kind of roguelike-ish. But it's not fully procedurally generated because it's all a series of events that I think you can ultimately just kind of unlock by just continuing to play. There's some randomness to it, but it's at least I think per character, they happen in order. And you can't unlock certain other characters going forward if you haven't unlocked a certain point with another one, I think. But that said, it's still, having that little start run. And I say this all the time with story-driven games. The fact that this is it's a bigger story than just 15 to 30 minutes, but your run of the gameplay is basically 15 to 30 minute loops. And I kind of appreciate that. It kind of just packs it all in, makes it easy to pick up and put down. Because I think that's where I struggle with a lot of big story-driven games is I don't follow along. If I don't keep playing it for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks straight, I don't know. I've already lost interest by the second time I've picked it up a week later. This, I could do that and it's all there, I guess.
Yeah, this kind of reminds, let's go back and talk about Still Wakes the Deep. All right. Another kind of walking simulator-esque game. One of our complaints about that game is you would never really replay it. Or even why do I always forget the werewolf? Yeah, the quarry. We talked about this with the quarry. The quarry is actually the better example, where we said it'd be kind of interesting to go back and play that game again to see different choices, but it's just so long. This is actually a perfect game to test that theory and see where your different approaches could change the game, because it's just short enough per run that it's not a massive time sink to do that. And most of what you're doing is picking dialogue. That's 90% of this game. The kind of walkabout parts are, not a lot going on there, but it's mostly just a dialogue thing. It's a choose your own adventure style game. And the fact that how this is structured and built, to me, actually feels very replayable. Again, it's an element of that I actually kind of appreciate. I think it's actually a really smart way of doing a choose your own adventure. And each run is revealing to you more story and more mystery. Every time you're kind of with I wonder what's happening there. What's going on there? What was that about? You're always kind of trying to figure out what happened with that explosion, that terrorist attack. And you're kind of giving little hints about it along the way. I think it's actually more to this game than even I was recognizing. I saw did you guys ever come in contact with a phone to dial phone numbers?
Yep.
Yeah. There's payphones all over the place.
Yeah.
I think I'm just walking by these things because I don't think I'm like really noticing. But I noticed that in the tips, it said every number's callable. So try calling some of these numbers that you come across. And I remember coming across one. I was like, well, if I see a phone, I'm going to dial that. I just didn't remember ever seeing a phone because I was kind of curious. Like, what does it do? What does it actually tell you?
Yeah, I never actually found the phone number for the campaigns, but yeah, you can like apparently dial it for the campaigns and donate to them because that's one of the achievements. But yeah, there's one of them I kept seeing too. Is like if you know information about there's like a radio station that plays good pirate radio station or whatever, and as you play through the story, you get information about it. I was like, I kind of want to call, but I was like, I kind of like the person, so I don't want to rat that person out. I don't know.
So I want to disagree with you, Aaron. Well, so first of all, I do agree. This game is pretty quick. It's 7.5 to 8.5 hours is what you're looking for playtime. So pretty quick game. But I don't think this game's that replayable. So from what it seems like, this game seems to me to be a lot of fake choices. So there are 3 endings in which it's very obvious, like when you are affecting situations, because there will be a little icon. There's a fist icon to do like the revolution symbol. There's a voting icon if you want to do the voting ending. And then there's a stick and bindle for a like flee and for the flee ending, the abandoned ending. So like you got those options that are like, okay, this is clearly going to affect the ending. But as far as like other choices, it seemed very fake. It seemed one of those like fake, you have an option, but you really don't. And I remember because I was playing with this, I had a moment, trying to be too spoilers, I'm trying to be vague here, where I was doing a stakeout and a guy was in danger. And basically terrorists were like, give us the tape or this guy's going to die. So I went, I'm going to see how this plays out. I'm going to let that guy die. The guy didn't die. And I was just,
oh, okay. I had that same situation.
Yeah. So I was like, this is one of those things of like a fake choice. And like, but once again, too, I don't think it matters because the choices I was doing didn't have that symbol. And it didn't, like, whenever something affects the game, your screen will like shake a little bit and it says that choice had an outcome. And like when I did that, it didn't do a screen shake. So I'm just like, I think this is
similar
kind of
to the quarry. The quarry did the same thing. Like, clearly there were ones that actually affected where the game branched.
Yeah. But like when it came to the actual like bits and stuff like that, when you're playing with a character, I don't think it matters. I think you may miss some information as you as a player may not learn about the world, but I don't think it really alters the game that much.
Okay. Well then explain in this though. Did either of you guys have that moment with Zoe in the car when the cop comes and gets her?
Yeah.
Okay. Did any of you try to save her?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
So I saw the achievement too.
But how did you have life? I only had 1 bar because that's where I started. I started with 1 bar in that car.
I think it happened at a different time. Like I might have happened at like a second sequence.
So this
my
is
team
where
had 4 bars on that event.
So again, that ended my run. But you guys saved her. I couldn't.
No, I didn't save her. I still got knocked out. I just woke up and I continued my run.
So I suspect you'll probably still just run into her at another point.
Yeah, you play another teen and you find her at a rest stop in the police car
So
and that's where you save her.
So I'm reading
Yeah,
the
Which I failed
achievement.
at.
I'm reading the achievement as you saved her
That's
there,
it.
but you actually saved her. Okay. So this makes sense, because to me, I was like, well, that's game altering. Like, you guys had a different experience there than I did, because, well, my run ended there. So I picked a teen who starts in that van, who gets hit by the cop and is dead. So there are, I mean, again, there are different. What if I don't die there? I don't know what the next sequence is. So,
And that's where I'm curious. So to go more in the gameplay, there's essentially, is there 8 side characters about? There's about 8 side
Yeah.
characters, and there's a little bar that kind of shows the progress of like their overall story. You know, you have like brothers or friends that are bank robbers that are going around the country doing criminal stuff. There's this teen that we talked about named Zoe, who's trying to run away. There's a teenager named Alex, which Aaron found very annoying. I agree. She's very annoying, who's like a hacker. But there's these different characters, and you're essentially, when you're playing your teen, you're uncovering the mystery behind them, what they're doing, what their motive is, and what they think about what's going on in this country, including one of them is a cop. So this is what I liked about it, where I felt like the game wasn't being too preachy, because it was giving you so many different angles of, you know, the cop, whose name is Fanny, which always made me chuckle, who you could tell, you know, she's not super happy that she's working with the government, is happy with the government's doing, but she obviously has these different motivations. You know, there was this big terrorist attack and she was there when it happened. So she doesn't like the violence going on. You know, you have this teen who lost their parents. And so it's this, I liked it that it gave different examples, and it made good questions of, you know, when a country is in turmoil, at what point, like, what do you do? Because a lot of people are saying, like, I did the option of like, oh, you should go vote to change the country. But of course, people are like, you know, voting's not going to do anything. The other candidate's not going to do anything. Like, we need to do it by force. And
So I kept vandalizing the red posters.
that was,
I vandalized the blues ones to just, like I said, I was playing the
That's-
devil's advocate.
that's my problem, though. That's where it was a forced, when you start the game and you're not given any context as to what you're going into, it asks you a bunch of questions, which I thought was kind of fun. I was like, okay, it's going to probably dictate a little bit about where this story goes. And then you realize really quickly that the vote option made no sense in this world. Well, how was I supposed to know that? How was I supposed to know what the scenario was that I'm walking into? And it's like, why would I in any of these conversations say, we really need to go vote to change these things, when I'm literally trying to escape? Because that's the point of the game, is to escape. And I'm like,
Yeah,
this doesn't even make sense.
it was contradictory.
Yeah, to me, those structural things are what drove me crazy, where I was like, this, especially when you're first starting out, you're meeting a very annoying character for me. And I was like, I feel like this game's trying to be a vibe with a really strong message. Like, to me, it kept cutting in with music. There's like a moment where I'm walking and I could just sit in a chair and put in a tape and listen to music and watch a waterfall. And I'm like, what is this game? Like, what is this trying to do? And then any conversation I'm having, I'm talking about voting when they're talking about their dead, you know, wife. And I'm like, yeah, are you going to vote? And it's like, what is this game?
Sorry about your
What
wife.
is this? But even with that aside, again, I do think there were enough story elements that made things a little interesting. I was a little bit intrigued. Enough of the characters were just quirky enough that I was kind of like, I kind of want to know what's going on here. You talked about the bank robber brothers or friends. I don't know if they're friends or brothers.
They
Yeah,
reminded me of Borderlands characters.
Yeah, they're very Borderlands characters. That's a very good description. Very Borderlands.
yeah, that is.
But they're on a hunt to find a killer who's driving a taxi who's going to kill the Sonya lady from the news. Which I was like, this is strange, because these characters I do not take as people that would be fans of this Sonya lady, because she's very the red president leaning, not the blue president, and nobody should be favoring the red president in this game. So, but there was enough that I was like, all right, I want to know more about this, but I'm going to have to find that out on another run. I'm just going to have to run into these characters again and learn more about them later on. And that, to me, that structure element, very cool. Very cool. I really like that. And if not for that, this game is very annoying, but because it's structured that way, it actually made this kind of fun. You're getting little vignettes of these characters.
Yeah.
and you're finding them at different times and you're learning more about them. And then you're sometimes finding out from other characters references to one of your previous characters that went through.
Well,
and I think that's cool.
This
is
a
very
cool
cool structure.
Where Andrew is saying like it's not replayable, and I think yes, in the like outside of the span of its 7.5 to 10 hours, whatever it may be, to complete the game, it may not be replayable a second time. When you've done all the things, you've learned all of the information, but it has that like what if situation, like you're saying of like how can things change with different interactions in a replayable manner. Whereas the core, you have all these moments. I'm like, oh man, in hour 3 of 9, it would have been really cool to see how this changes the outplay of the game. But I'm not going through 9+ hours. Whereas the replayable, changeable factors all happen in those 30-minute bits of runs. And I think it's just, it's a different feel to it. And I like the way that it's structured in that small replayable structure rather than a long series of what ifs that I'll never find out.
Yeah. It's the thing that I really like about this game of like those short vignettes, because this is a great cloud game. I mostly played on the cloud, and it was one of those things of like, if I had to stop, like it's just at that checkpoint kind of where I'm at, wouldn't lose a lot of progress. And like, I think that's what kind of motivated me more. Like I just recently started playing another walking simulator that I absolutely love, and that's The Walking Dead Season 1. But there's moments of it where I'm just like, oh, this is slow. Like when you're kind of walking and doing an objective in that game, it is just slow. But this is much quicker. Anytime you're at a stop in a walkabout area, it's like 5 minutes. They're super quick.
Yeah. And I remember the first time I was going through, I went through one of these walking areas, and there were so many things going on that I was like, it feels like I should be able to get in there. Or it feels like I should be able to do that, but I can't. And I didn't know the structure of this game. And I was like, man, this is kind of moving pretty quick. Like I'm getting close to the border here. This game just kind of started. And it wasn't until I realized it resets you as a new character on a different path at a different time, where I was like, oh, okay, so I'm going to come across that again. Like I did it, like there was an achievement, like I did the cairn where I put the rock on the cairn.
I ruined that achievement for myself. I ruined that achievement. I literally needed the achievements to put 3 stones on that cairn. I literally needed 1 more stone. I've actually clicked destroy the cairn, and I reset it. I was like, oh my God. So pissed.
But I did not realize how this game was kind of structured that way. And once you realize it, like, oh, that's kind of fun. That's the only reason why I would look at this and say, I would kind of want to replay that again, is you guys have gotten characters across the border. I have. So part of me is like, could none of my characters make it across? Could all of them make it across? Is it possible for every single one of them to make it across? And obviously, knowing some of that knowledge, I wonder if that changes anything or if it does anything different. I don't know. There's enough
I don't think it does,
here.
though. Because I looked up the endings and like how it kind of plays out, and I didn't see anything being like, oh, you have to get so many teams across. I think, honestly, getting teams across is completely irrelevant, which is really disappointing.
Yeah.
I almost wonder like if it like locks in certain events. Is almost what I wonder. And I don't...
Certain events, like, you can't get every team across because there's going to be an event that ends one every time.
Not necessarily that, but I guess more so like, I don't know, if you're pushing really hard for the voting and, you're telling every new widow or widower that they need to just get out there and vote instead of worrying about their dead spouse, then like those lock in when you get safely across. And so like, I don't know, does it ever really change those voting impact numbers?
I think that's the whole point of it. So at the beginning of every run, when you see the TV news station, she tells you the current polls, how far is the red president over the blue president, and then who's abstaining from voting.
62 and 38%. And then there was like 38% abstaining. So then I don't get that because that's over 100%. But I don't know if
that was supposed to be like a corrupt.
That's not how math works. I've checked.
But I did notice the shifting of the votes when I was playing.
I didn't.
The farther I got.
But I struggled every time those things came up because I'm like, I said at the beginning of the game, I would vote for change.
Yeah.
But then when you're in the game, you kind of realize that answer sucks. And the game doesn't want you to pick that one. So,
actually, the voting is the happy ending.
Really? But
I figured it would be.
This is where the messaging of the game contradicts itself. Then why is the purpose of the game to escape?
I know, exactly. It's contradictory. You're telling people to vote while you're leaving. And it's like, why? And like I said, this is where my annoyance. Why am I leaving? Like, why are only teens leaving? Why are you not leaving with your parents? Why are your whole family's not leaving? Why is it only teens? So that's why I was like, I don't think this president is actually a tyrant. I think it's just teens being angsty, because the other main teen you're meeting a lot is Zoe, and she's super angsty, just constantly like, oh, screw you, pigs. And it's just like, like you're picking a fight.
Yeah, but they're
like,
saying
they're
going to like internment camps. Nobody knows where they're going.
But
So
that's
nobody
the thing.
sees
I don't
them.
know these internment camps. These are just what people are saying, that you go to the pit. It's like, what's the pit?
Sure.
Because this is my other question is, like, this is supposed to be a country that excels in oil. There's oil pumps everywhere. I mean, I think where it gets its name, Petria, I think it's supposed to be like petroleum. But
makes sense.
where are the houses? You literally don't see a single city. You see some trailers, but it's usually just flat kind of desert land. And I'm like, where is everybody? Where are the houses? Where are the adults? Like, you never go to an actual city and see citizens. It's just like truck stops.
Yeah, was that also another kind of added heavy message? Like, gas is bad, oil is bad. I feel like that kind of played into it. Because like when Zoe reveals that her dad is...
Don't spoil it.
Okay. All right.
But yes, I know what you're saying.
Reveals
when
something.
she reveals... Yes.
So, I didn't think was that really that big of a spoiler?
It's pretty important.
Okay. It still kind of leads you to believe that oil is bad.
Yeah.
Is that just another added message on top of all of that?
I don't think so.
I don't think so, but kind of. I think it's just kind of saying, I guess people that love oil are corrupt, which I think is also supposed to be like
that's what
another
I
message
get
of America. Where do you think
that's
the studio is from?
France.
Yep, you got it, Keith.
I just had it in front of me. That's why I actually knew.
I could tell just by the name of it.
What's the name of the studio?
No, I would have guessed France for its level of preachiness.
Yes.
And it's kind of odd characters. I don't think a lot of these characters are very dramatic.
It's apparently a prequel to this game.
Yeah. Road 90.
It looks like a completely different play style.
What kind of play style is it? Sports game?
It's a football game.
There really is like a skating sequence that I'm watching right now. So kind of a sports game, I guess.
Well, it looks like you're playing as like just two characters traveling, which one of them looks like Zoe.
One of them is Zoe.
Which, yes.
But yeah. She just roasts you the whole time.
Yeah. No matter what, it doesn't sound good.
So this is kind of a transition into graphics a little bit. Just because I'm watching the trailer to the Mile Zero. The guy who just always looks the same, is that supposed to be like a running joke? That there's like a generic guy with a mustache? And he's always like one.
With the cop?
It's like always a cop or something. But there's just a very generic, like one model in particular that they tend to use very consistently.
I think the game's lazy.
Yeah.
Because I gotta say, I think this game's ugly.
Well, here's why I almost wonder, unless maybe they just did it as a joke in the second one. There was apparently a sequence in this prequel game of you running up a tower fighting a giant, one of those guys. And he's just like attacking you as you climb the tower. Yeah.
Okay, that's very weird.
So that's why I think it was actually an intentional gag.
No, but yeah, graphically, I did not like this game. Like, it's pretty ugly.
Pretty ugly, which is fine. It's not, although, like I said earlier, I felt like this game really wanted to kind of catch a vibe at certain points.
Yeah.
When you're out under the stars, or when you're sitting by a river and putting some tunes on. Like, I feel like it was trying to capture vibe. And for a game that doesn't look that good to look at, you're like, it kind of ruins it. In my opinion, they spent money on a soundtrack. That's where the money went.
Yeah.
The money went to a soundtrack, which is actually pretty decent. So it's ugly, but if you're going to go pay a bunch of artists to actually go write some music for your game, this one kind of works. It kind of works. It was a little bit over the top at some points. You could tell they were really trying to make sure they got that in there as much as possible. But, for the most part, it works. It works.
Yeah, some of those songs were the types of songs that are like end credit songs.
Yeah.
And they're just happening every 5 minutes. This feels a bit aggressive. But
some
butt
rock,
good.
though.
You know what I was shocked about?
There is no butt rock.
Is I went on to Spotify and I just looked up Road 96, not Road 69, but I looked up Road 96 and the soundtrack's on there. A shocking amount of plays, their soundtrack. So you kind of feel like this is a small enough game that like probably not a lot of people have heard this. I was a little bit surprised at how many plays were on there.
I mean, I wonder if those are well-known enough artists within like some of those like techno-y type of songs. Like that's not a genre of music I listen to, but if you listen to those styles of music, are some of these artists fairly well-known in those circles? And it's like, oh, cool, this is like a niche. They did a song for this game.
Some look like that's the case. But one that was like kind of surprising to me is Daniel Gadd. So I noticed that was one of the tapes that you get.
Yeah, I don't see, that's a name I don't recognize.
No. And he does have some of his own music, but just to put this in perspective, of his top 10 songs, 15,000 plays for one song that is not on Road 96. On Road 96, he has 1,124,000.
Whoa.
So
yeah,
this is what I'm saying. His regular music, nothing. But that song, huge. Oh, Cocoon, The Road. This is on the soundtrack. 9 million streams. Phone Call by the Toxic Avenger, 2.5 million. Far From Home, that's Daniel Gadd, 1.1 million. So this soundtrack, they spent money to get real artists to write this music, and man, it looks like they made a killing with it. So, yeah, ugly game, but they spent money on the soundtrack, and the soundtrack's actually pretty nice. There were plenty of songs that came up, I was like, this is a nice song. This is clearly somebody who knows what they're doing.
I gotta say, overall, I like the voice acting too. I think the writing wasn't very good.
Yeah,
the
dialogue's
voice
terrible.
actors. Yeah, but I think the voice actors actually did a solid job.
Mitch and Stan are, if you look at them comedically, they're fantastic. I think if you try to take them seriously at all, like their accent is so bad, I have no idea what it is.
Which I think they're...
But at the same time, it's great.
Did Stan and Mitch ever kill anyone in your games?
No. First, they threw me out of the car.
Yeah, same. So, like, that's why I'm like, I don't think they're actually bad guys. I think they're just goofy. I think they're always meant to be comedic.
No, there's one scene, there's one cut scene in particular where you're like monitoring a video of them robbing a bank. And I did that. Yeah, and like the very third thing, you're like, oh, and it looks like they're idiots. And it's, I don't even remember because they're doing something stupid on the camera or whatever. So yeah, I think you're right. I think they're just meant to be goofballs. But at the same time, that's what makes them great. Like if you take them as comedic relief, they're easily my two favorite characters. But otherwise, yeah, the dialogue is so bad that it makes the voice acting seem bad. But the voice acting is actually pretty decent. Give you that.
The only bad voice acting is the character I agree with Aaron, and that's Alex.
Alex,
she's supposed to be 14, Daniel. Which doesn't look 14. And just, you call him Daniel?
Yeah, I kept calling him Daniel because I thought his name was Daniel. But they refer to him as a he. I don't think it's actually supposed to be a she.
No, they kept saying she to me.
I thought they referred, because I remember being like, oh, it's a boy? Yeah, they referred to him as like a young boy.
Yeah, she keeps talking about her son.
Yeah.
Are we thinking of different characters? The hacker person.
Yes.
Yeah. That's Alex.
Who makes the little tank game?
Yeah. See,
I'm
curious if this is procedurally gendered. They changed the gender of this character. That
I don't
know.
think so.
I'm 90% sure they kept calling her she.
In the other dialogue about them, they're using other pronouns.
Yeah, I'm
Alex,
pretty sure
is what you're saying.
It's supposed to be a young boy.
I think you just have it mixed up, and I feel like they were probably talking about you, and your character was a she at that.
But if I have to hear Alex say the word homegirl one more freaking time,
gosh,
I'm going
that's annoying.
to hunt that character off of a cliff. I could not stand how many times I had to hear homegirl in that car, and I was like, "Is this what the game is? Do I have to sit in a vehicle with somebody calling me homegirl after every dialogue option? If that's the case, I'm a hard out on this. What a horrible start to that game. In fact, these game developers need to go back and reassess this. You should never have to start with Alex in your car. You should never have to start that way. Because that was my introduction to this game. My introduction was homegirl, 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 homegirl. Check out my video game. Pull the car over right now and play my video game, homegirl. I was like, this sucks. This sucks. I hate this.
So your very first interaction was the game.
This is how it started for me.
I told them at a truck stop.
I want to vote for change, and then I'm immediately homegirl, 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 and I was like, what is this?
Oh my gosh! Even the moment where they're like telling you a sad story, they're like, "Man,
yes,
I never met them, homegirl," and I'm like, "Come on, stop saying homegirl."
He was a very rough introduction to this game. I'm telling you that those first 15-ish minutes, because then right after that I met Zoe and was blowing on a trumpet, and I'm like, what is this game? What is happening right now? Where did that weird homegirl kid go? Who is this? Why am I blowing on a trombone right now? There was a lot of going on, and I was really hating it. But yeah, they recovered.
All right, you're right. According to the Wikipedia, Alex is a he. So I must have misheard.
Yeah.
But it says gender male.
No, that checks out.
Yeah, glad you could clear that up, because that was crucial.
But yeah, I met Alex at a truck stop playing an arcade game. I wasn't in a car with Alex to begin with.
I saw, how when the game first starts, you're kind of just seeing quick snippets of all the characters, like in different areas. Again, also kind of jarring, because you're like, what was all of that? Like, why did I just see a ton of characters and now I'm just in this car? What just happened? You see Alex at the arcade, and it looks like maybe like a diner or something like that, playing at the arcade. So
that's where I met Alex.
Okay, interesting.
I see now why Stan and Mitch are so interested in the reporter.
Stop looking at that.
I'm not gonna say, but
okay. Well,
there's a
okay.
But yeah, so I do agree. I think Alex is just the worst written one. Because it's just, the excessive homegirl was just like, come on. Like, this game is supposed to take place in 96, which I'm assuming that's also maybe why it's called Road 96.
Maybe.
Even though you
that's
do
what
go
I
to
assume.
Road 96. But yeah, overall though, like I said, I think the voice acting is good. But yeah, overall though, and then I guess for the achievements, this is a fantastic achievement hunter game. I will always say, just reveal the secret achievements, nothing spoilery, like nothing too crazy. Everything's pretty easy to do. Like I said, this game's 7.5 to 8.5 hours long. Some of them are not really missable, but like anytime you're doing a run, you can obviously kind of do the thing. So it's very easy. There's only 12 achievements too. So every achievement you get is, I think the lowest one is worth 40, but the rest are worth like 100 and plus. And it's just like, this is great. So great for achievement hunters.
Don't kick over the Karen.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That irritated me because I thought it was the top option. So I ran up to the Karen. I was like, here comes the achievement. And then it was destroy the Karen. And I was like, I was like, crap. Now I got to do this 3 more times.
Should have tried to just save scum it.
I know. I don't know why I didn't think that. I should have. Well, because there's an achievement to get like 16s, I think, across the border. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to be working for that achievement anyway. So whatever.
We'll be back here a lot more anyhow.
Exactly. So I was just like, okay, fine. But yeah. So let's get into our final thoughts here. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first because I don't think. Oh, you go, Keith. Yeah, I'll tell you.
Well, because Andrew always gets mad because I copy him or whatever.
You did.
I didn't.
Yeah,
so I didn't.
Our end of the year wrap up episode. I was like, Keith literally is just picking every game I'm saying.
Wasn't though. I wasn't. I promise.
Listen to it, Keith.
I'm sure it sounded that way because I knew what I was saying. Anyways. So I didn't actually know anything about what this game was. I thought it was, I guess I thought it was a walking simulator, but I thought it was just a lot more like Mad Max style. Like you were constantly in a car driving. Anyways, it wasn't that, but I didn't have the same experience in terms of you guys where I hated it right away, but I didn't really know what I was doing. Kind of took me a little bit to figure out. But once I got that first character, because, I got my first character across the border, Aaron. After doing that and just kind of picking up and like restarting and start realizing that this is just, it isn't a roguelike, but it is in a narrative format and it's just nice and concise. I kind of got into just the gameplay of it. I think I don't know, the storyline is kind of lackluster. And I think like we talked about, it ultimately is kind of pigeonholed into 3 direct endings in some capacity. I think I still don't really know how to get them, but I was having fun with it. I don't think I would put tons of time into it, maybe enough to to beat all of it, but you can pick it up and you can put it down easy enough. And I don't think there's a lot of story games you can do that with, but this one it's nice and concise enough that you're able to do that. So I would definitely recommend it overall. I'd give it an 82.
Yeah, I just hope if you pick up this game, you do not start with Alex in your car calling you homegirl, because it's a bad introduction to the game. Yeah, as we've mentioned, I think story-wise, there is enough mystery. There's enough of a desire to learn more to this game that makes it very easy to want to keep going. I like this. The kind of roguelike elements of the game are actually kind of a clever way of doing a choose your own adventure. So it's not, I just always think action oriented when you're thinking roguelike, but here it's just very story and dialogue driven. I wish that the game wasn't very restrictive in where your decisions should be going. It's just very obvious that you are directly affected by the outcome of this game, to the point where that choice is really only one choice. So I do think there's some holes there, but it was still interesting enough to want to go back and learn a little bit more. I plan on still picking this back up because I want to see if I can get a dang team across that border. Just one. If I can get just one without getting them killed, would be outstanding. For its pitfalls, I mean, graphically and some of the story elements, some of the pigeonholing stuff, I'm going to have to give it a 76.
Yeah. So, like I said, I was more with Aaron on this one. I do like narrative adventure story games. This one can be a little preachy at some moments, but I thought these characters were interesting, and I kind of liked this element of trying to figure out what's going on. I didn't like, as far as story narrative games go, to me, this was one of the weaker ones, but I felt gameplay-wise, it was more of the funner ones. Nothing's crazy fun, but it always kept me interested. Like, there was these, obviously, little mini games that are going on that I was like, that was a nice change of pace. Nothing crazy to write home about, but it was a nice change of pace and just made things interesting. But yeah, the characters of like interacting with each other and trying to progressing through this game, it kept my attention. So it was, because that's the thing, whenever you do kind of a narrative game, like I said, like the Walking Dead games, sometimes I'm like, I got to get in the mindset of it, or not Until Dawn. All right, man. What was that other? Oh, we talked about this before. As Dusk Falls. There we go. I actually remember this time. Whenever you play like those kind of story games, they're hefty. And you kind of have to get in the mindset of it of like, okay, I have an hour to focus, to build on this story. Let me do this. In this game, it was just these kind of quick vignettes. It's roguelike element. So it was easy to just pick up and put down. I could do a 15-minute run and do a teen, just one of the teens, see how did they make it across the border? Did they die? All right, I'm good for now. I'll pick it up later. So this was just a lot more accessible when it came to a story. It is a little preachy, which I don't like when a game preaches to me. So I was like, but it at least, I think, stirred up enough questions of how you should go about when it comes to political change, which I was like, okay, that's an interesting dialogue choice. And it wasn't just constant, shoving in your face. But yeah, graphically, not great. Music's pretty good. Achievements, super easy. Great for achievement hunters. For me, yeah, I'm going to give this a 78. It's definitely worth your time. If you're someone who just absolutely doesn't like political stuff and wants to deal with any of that, you may want to avoid it, but I at least thought the characters were interesting enough that it didn't bother me.
I mean, is the political thing it's trying to get across is just run away? Kind of feels like...
I don't know.
I mean, that's the whole point of the game, is you're trying to run away.
Run away.
I don't know what this game is trying to tell me. This is just, it's a little bit confusing.
Because like I said, at the end of the day, the teams you're playing at, I think, are completely irrelevant. Like, I don't think, like I said, as far as I saw, I don't think it matters how many teams you get across the border. It doesn't, you just get the 3 different endings and that's it. That's kind of weird. But yeah. So I think that'll do it for us this week. Thank you so much for joining us. I've been your hardcore gamer, host Andrew. You can find me on Xbox Live at Firebird0952. Check out our Patreon, our Discord, and go to our link tree. You find the links to all our socials. Join us on Discord. Check out our wonderful sponsor, Magic Mind. Make sure you go to magicmind.com/bagjan to get a special January bundle that is only available, obviously, in January. So limited time for that. But yeah, hang out with us, or go to our YouTube, leave some comments on our episodes. We always love hearing from you guys and, getting messages from you. But yeah, Aaron.
Yeah.
Say something. How's your popcorn
okay.
bucket podcast
You know,
going?
you just said my name, so I thought you had a question or maybe a comment
I didn't know
to
how
say.
else to wrap it up.
Would you
You know,
rather he
that's
did
fine.
a fart noise?
Yeah, my name is Aaron.
Let me pull that
am
up.
The guest on this episode. Thank you for listening to me and hearing my just pretty level-headed opinions. Hey, okay. Thanks for having me.
Nice. I appreciate Aaron taking my bit of having nothing good to say. Thanks, homegirl. Appreciate
I
it.
had plenty to say. Do not freaking say homegirl. Don't you dare say homegirl. If I hear that one more time. Was
She
that
gets out,
even a
Andrew.
phrase people used in the 90s? Was it?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I feel like it is one of those like caricature kind of things. Even like home slice. Like I feel like at least some people maybe said home slice every once in a while.
Not
but
seriously.
just
early-
honestly be.
earliest known use of homegirl is in the 1840s.
Like,
That's
not only that, did you
insane.
ever hear Alex say homeboy?
No, I don't
Do you
think
only
so.
play females?
I mean, I call everyone homegirl.
Thank you all for joining us. We love you all. We'll see you again next week. See ya. Okay, no one else wanted to
Slang
say
term
bye.
that refers to a close female friend or a girl.